subscribers, we are talking with David Sereda about his films The Voice, From Here to Andromeda, and Evidence, the case for NASA UFOs. And when we finished up the first segment, we were just getting into a little bit of the science behind the invisible. And David, I don't know if you wanted to finish up or round things up on that point, because you were where we left off. You didn't have time to finish it off, so to speak.
Well, you see, when we think of the idea that we're only experiencing a limited part of the universe, and that most of the universe is invisible to us, and that Einstein's spooky action at a distance demonstrates a field that is truly beyond relativity, because everything in this field moves instantaneously. And that would be the only true real-time picture of the universe. And the idea that when you go into these, what I'm calling these 9 greater fields of enlightenment that are very clearly extant in Buddha's Dhammapada and the Lankavatara Sutra and, a lot of the different Hindu manuscripts in the Vedas, that each of these fields is as if a dimension of visibility. But each of these fields are invisible to us on a regular basis. So when we're thinking of are we alone in the universe, I mean, it's really amazing to think that when the Hubble Space Telescope keeps finding another candidate planet for life in the universe, and then it examines it, you find out that, well, there's still nobody out there but us. And I came to the conclusion that there's life everywhere. I've seen so many times in the middle of the night I've been visited by extraterrestrial beings that have bodies of energy and light that are not visible to most humans, but I know what I'm seeing is right in front of me is real. Mm-hmm. In fact, Pythagoras said that for the person who purifies their mind with certain exercises, he actually stated this, that all of the 9 planets in our solar system have beings living on them. Beings he described with bodies of tenuous bodies of light. So we're essentially, the atoms of our bodies are protons, electrons, and subatomic particles, quarks, antiquarks, muons, taus, all of it. The spaces between the particles is, most of the atom is empty space, is what I'm saying. It's mostly just vibrations of energy.
Right.
And once you understand that idea, that we're only seeing a limited vibration of the known universe, and that the part of the universe we see, visibility is very, very slow. It's almost as if in slow motion when you compare the speed of light to instantaneity over any distance, which is action at a distance. We're actually in an alternate universe. We may not even be in the real universe, which is a kind of a terrifying thought. We may be in a Maya, exactly as the ancient Hindus said, an illusion, a matrix, not even real. That when you see the real-time universe, this experience happens when you attain enlightenment. When you go into these higher and higher states of consciousness. And I'm starting to believe that. I'm starting to believe that it can't be a coincidence that everywhere we look in the universe, you can't find life. And maybe it's because our brains are coded, and I'll show you where I think they're coded. In a Gnostic gospel called the Apocryphon of John, which is one of the non-canonized Christian manuscripts, it's 550 days after the resurrection crucifixion period. The Jews are laughing at John, saying this Nazarene has deceived you, and you really need to go back to the old ways, and he doesn't believe it, and he's lying face down in the dirt, days and days later, 550 days, and this blinding apparition of Jesus comes out of the sky, comes down on the ground, and transfigures from an old man with a white beard, whom Jesus never lived to be old enough to have the white beard, and then into Jesus, the young man with the beard, and then into a woman. And John is seeing Jesus transfigure into a woman, and he's terrified, and there's this blinding light. Apparently it's louder than a war. He uses the word war. And he says, John, why do you doubt, or why are you afraid? That is, do not be timid. I am the one who is with you always. I am the Father, I am the Mother, and I am the Son. And after this blinding apparition, Jesus shows him the history and the story of the creation of the universe. And in it, it shows after we took in the knowledge of good and evil, which is the polarity matrix field, we ingested it. we were cast to the lowest region of matter. Not the lowest region of the universe geographically, but the lowest region of matter itself.
Right.
And when you look at matter itself, it has the knowledge of good and evil, the polarity matrix field on it. Mm-hmm. And I believe the code on matter, it's actually proven in physics that the reason mass, a piece of steel, can't move at the speed of light because of the increased mass problem, Einstein's demonstration of the faster you go, the more the background of what you're moving through pushes on you. It makes you heavier, increases your mass, and you can't accelerate anymore. It turns out that what causes that is the polarity field on the atom. So the cause of why we can't move faster than the speed of light is the polarity matrix. The cause of cellular aging is the same thing. It's what happens is when our energy fields are in conflict, they're wasting all of their energy, and that is what causes aging at the level of the DNA. The DNA is a double helix. It's a polarity matrix. It's a manifestation of the polarity matrix. So what you end up finding out is this visible universe to us may be coded at the subatomic level with information that we are all subconsciously giving it, telling it to be in that configuration. And when we wake up, when we attain singularity, which is what the Buddha taught and Krishna taught and Jesus and all of the great masters, then you see the real-time universe, and it is paradise. It is utterly, spectacularly beautiful. And when you wake up, this is also in the film The Voice. We interviewed Robert Thurman, this Uma Thurman's father, who's a very famous professor on Tibetan Buddhism. Time magazine voted him one of the 25 most influential people of 1997, I think it was. Okay. He's saying that there are invisible countries and cities all over the planet in Buddhism that become visible for the person who wakes up.
Shambhala?
And Shambhala is one of those cities.
Right.
And in fact, we talk about that in From Here to Andromeda and The Voice. We go much deeper into it in The Voice with Robert Thurman. And that is what I'm starting to really believe. We are not alone in the universe. We're alone in our state of consciousness. When we wake up, we end up finding out what Pythagoras found in the 6th century BC, and Jesus and Buddha and all of them. There's beings everywhere. You just can't see them. It's the fact that our psyche is wasting all of its energy on the polarity matrix, which causes us to go to war with each other and waste all of our resources and food, and we destroy whole cities and have to rebuild them and kill millions of people. If we weren't in this polarity field, if we really didn't think we were better than the other guy, invading countries, not just as a means of, when we invade a country, sometimes it's not like we're using weapons. We just come in and we start overpopulating, and that's an act of war. The white races, invaded the native Indians and committed genocide and killed over 100 million Indians.
Right.
And of course now I think Europe is becoming almost 30% Islamic, because a lot of the Muslim cultures are so successful financially because of the oil. They're moving into Europe and sending their kids to the best schools, getting the best jobs, and so this is what happens. You have religions that think they're better than everybody else, and they want to come in and take over your territories. And we've been doing this throughout history. Everybody thinks that, my religion is the best religion in the world, and just like in the times of the Crusades, if God is on our side, then like a football game, then we're going to wipe out the other guy. We're going to overpopulate his territory and take him over because God is great and God is going to be on my side and we win the football game. That whole mentality is a manifestation of the polarity matrix. It's really insane. We're really in our infancy on this planet. I believe when everybody attains singularity, individually and as a civilization, and we actually enter these higher fields, we're going to find out we're not alone in the universe, and that we will have the technology to travel anywhere we want in very small amounts of time.
So we're kind of in a, what do you call it, a downward spiral into the matter and into our kind of our own problems and our own egocentric, self-absorbed, egotistic activities that we're doing here. That's what you're saying, I guess.
Yeah, when you really experience the singular field in your consciousness, and then you look at wars and you look at people like taking over each other's countries, and another country wants to, I think it just happened in the former Yugoslavia that Herzegovina now is separate from. There's 3 countries in there.
Yeah, Kosovo was separated from Serbia.
From Serbia, yeah. And now you have the countries get smaller, divided, because nobody can get along. Everybody has a different idea about the way the world should be. And what's happening is we're becoming more and more divided. We're wasting more of our resources. We don't really believe we're all one. Even though the one true God, who the Muslims call Allah, which is an extension of Yahweh, the God for the Jews, who, we egoify the image and the name of God, and we think it's different than the other guys.
Right.
But the true God is the field, the aura of singularity, non-dualism, that extends beyond the boundaries of this little egoified little point that we call God.
Yep.
And if we could really see that God was the field, the same way a quantum physicist sees both the atom, the particle, and the field, and the field is how atoms communicate with each other, we'd realize that it's not just this little thing. It's not like it's a football game, that you got to get the right God and the right religion, and therefore if you do, and you're on our side, we're going to conquer the world and wipe out your country.
David, could it be that we are actually being manipulated by some of the more sinister beings that perhaps are part of our world that are here right now? What I'm referring to, of course, is that some kind of semi-god or a god with a little g has been kind of influencing people and claiming to be the one true God, and then a consequence of that is that everyone on this planet are basically at war with each other because of that. What do you think?
Oh, I think that's actually true. I think if you look and you're really looking for the truth, and you're 100% honest, and if you study your religion, if your God is sending you to war, then you have a God who favors one race over another, or one culture over another. And that is not the unifying, the all one true God of the universe. Because the real God of the universe loves everybody and lives in a state of non-duality. You see, in the field of singularity, this is amazing, because I didn't mention this yet, but Paul Dirac, who won the Nobel Prize with Erwin Schrödinger, he actually discovers a field of singularity, of non-dualism. He called it the sea of, it was pure negative. In fact, he didn't even really know what to name it, because in a polarity matrix, a negative always attracts a positive, and they always dance in this polarity field with each other, positive, negative, I'm right, you're wrong, you're right, I'm wrong.
Right.
That whole thing just keeps going and going and going and wasting all of this energy. Well, he found the field that gave birth to the lightest particle in all of the subatomic particles is the electron. And the electron has an anti-electron, so they call them, the epos in Greek means pair. He found that he could actually measure the birth of the electron-anti-electron pair, and that they were born out of super high-frequency gammas, which are the highest frequency light waves we know of. Okay. And light essentially spins positive. It's the only particle where you can't see its antiparticle inside of it. So light spins positive, which is like clockwise. But light, the reason it doesn't travel instantaneously is the background of space, the fabric of space itself, produces negative pressure. And because the negative pressure is attracted to the positivity of light, the two of them rush together and they slow each other down. They produce inertia. But what Dirac found when he found this sea of negativity, he found that this pure negative sea would not attract a positive, that it was pure oneness. I don't even think it was correct that he called it negative, because it's not behaving like a negative in a polarity field. It's behaving as a singularity. And he found that out of this sea of singularity, that the super high frequency gammas were born, which eventually gave birth to the epos, the electron-anti-electron pair, which eventually give birth to all of the dual particles in the material universe. So